Welcome to The Buried Truth. Tonight's story takes us to a quiet, ordinary neighborhood on the outskirts of Denver, Colorado. This was a place where nothing unusual ever happened, a place where people felt safe. That is, until a single security camera captured a moment that would leave both police and residents deeply unsettled for weeks. It all started just after 3 in the morning. The motion detector outside a small, family-owned electronics repair shop flickered to life. The owner, a man named Mr. Dalton, was used to these little alerts. He'd see them all the time. Usually, it was just a stray cat prowling through the alley, the wind rustling a loose sign, or the headlights of a passing car. False alarms were part of his routine. But when he reviewed the footage the next morning over his coffee, he dropped everything and immediately dialed 911. Because this time, the figure captured on his camera wasn't just unusual, it was utterly impossible to explain. At precisely 3:07 a.m., a man appeared in the frame, walking toward the front of the shop. He didn't look like a burglar. He wasn't trying to jimmy the lock or smash a window. He carried nothing suspicious. Instead, he did something strange. He walked directly up to the front wall, to the solid brick and glass, and pressed his hand flat against it, almost as if he was searching for something hidden just behind the surface. But it wasn't his bizarre behavior that made investigators freeze when they saw the footage. It was his face. The man was wearing a dark hood, obscuring most of his features. But for a fleeting split second, as he turned his head, the camera caught a clear glimpse of half of his face. The detectives ran the image through every facial recognition database. They had local, state, and federal. The result was always the same, no match. It was as if this man didn't exist. Their initial assumption was that the footage must have been corrupted or distorted by the low light. Maybe it was a digital glitch. They sent the video to 3 separate independent forensic teams for analysis. Each team came back with the same conclusion. The footage was clean, and they all pointed out one specific chilling detail. The man's expression wasn't threatening. It was terrified. He looked like he was the one being hunted. The mystery deepened. Who was this phantom figure, and what was he so afraid of? The police increased patrols in the area, and the neighborhood held its breath. 2 nights later, at the exact same time, 3:07 a.m. motion sensor at Mr. Dalton's shop was triggered again. The owner and the police, now watching the live feed, saw the same hooded man return. This time his actions were even more perplexing. He approached the front door, bent down, and carefully placed a small object on the ground. It was a single metal key. He set it gently near the doorstep, then leaned in close and whispered something. But the camera's microphone was too weak to capture the words clearly. Just as he finished, he glanced urgently over his shoulder into the darkness, his body language screaming panic. Then he turned and sprinted away, disappearing into the night, as if a demon was on his heels. When detectives arrived on the scene, they carefully retrieved the key. Their confusion only grew. This wasn't a standard house key, a car key, or even a safe deposit box key. It was old, with an industrial, almost antique design. Etched onto its side was a strange serial number, one that didn't correspond to any known lock system or manufacturer in any database. The community and the media were buzzing with theories. Was he trying to signal an accomplice? Was he hiding a piece of evidence? Or was this some kind of bizarre, cryptic confession? The police went back to the footage, determined to find a clue. They focused on the audio from the second night, right when the man whispered before running away. Using advanced audio enhancement technology, they filtered out the background noise. The hum of the streetlights, the distant traffic. After hours of work, they managed to isolate a single, faintly spoken word. The word was locker. This was the breakthrough they needed. Detectives immediately began a systematic search of every storage facility, every gym, and every public locker system within a 5-mile radius of the electronics shop. It was a painstaking process, but eventually they got a hit. The strange serial number on the key matched locker 3-17 in an old abandoned storage building on the industrial edge of town, a place scheduled for demolition in just a few weeks. With a warrant in hand, a tactical team cautiously approached the building. They expected the worst. Back inside that locker, they thought they might find a weapon, stolen goods, or something far more sinister. When they cut the lock and swung the metal door open, they found none of that. Instead, the locker was filled with blueprints, complex circuit boards, stacks of handwritten notes, and several audio recordings. It wasn't the hideout of a criminal, it was the cache of a whistleblower. The evidence meticulously laid out inside the locker told a shocking story. The mysterious man was a programmer, desperately trying to expose a clandestine tech group. This group had developed a way to hack into smart home devices, everything from speakers to cameras to thermostats, and were using them to steal vast amounts of personal data from unsuspecting citizens. The man wasn't a stalker lurking in the night. He was on the run from a powerful and dangerous organization, and he was terrified they were closing in on him. Experts who reviewed the contents of the locker confirmed his claims. The technology was real, and the implications were staggering. They believe he chose Mr. Dalton's repair shop for a reason, perhaps. He knew the owner was tech-savvy and had security cameras. He left the key as a last-ditch effort, a breadcrumb trail for someone, anyone, to find the truth before the people he feared caught up to him, and in that he succeeded. But by the time investigators acted on the information from the locker, it was too late. When they raided the locations mentioned in the man's notes, they found them all completely empty. The underground group had vanished without a trace, their equipment professionally wiped, their digital footprints erased. They were ghosts. And what of the unidentified man in the footage? He was never seen again. Police speculate he either managed to escape and go into deep hiding, or that his fears were realized. We may never know his fate. But he left behind the one thing he was willing to risk his life for: the truth. This case serves as a powerful reminder. Sometimes the figures that seem threatening in the shadows aren't the danger. Sometimes they are the warning. What that simple security camera captured on that quiet Colorado night was unto threat lurking in the darkness. It was a desperate plea for help, a final message from a man who sacrificed everything to bring a buried truth to light. Thank you for joining us on The Buried Truth. If you found this story compelling, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more unsolved mysteries. We'll see you next time.